The SS Andrea Doria. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Know How, and today we are going to be looking at the history and final fate of the SS Andrea Doria, the 1950s ocean liner that struck another ship and sank. Introduction. SS Andrea Doria was an ocean liner for the Italian line home ported in Genoa, Italy, known for its sinking in 1956, where of the 1,706 passengers and crew, 1,660 were rescued while 46 lost their lives. Launched on 16th June 1951, the ship began her maiden voyage on 14th January 1953. On 25th July 1956, while Andrea Doria was approaching the coast of the United States, bound for New York City, the eastbound Stockholm of the Swedish-American line collided with her in one of history's most infamous maritime disasters. This accident remains the worst maritime disaster to occur in the United States waters since the sinking of the US ship Eastland in 1915. If you want a specific video about the sinking of the Eastland, do let me know in the comments. Features. Andrea Doria had a length of 212 meters. The propulsion system consisted of steam turbines attached to twin screws, enabling the ship to achieve a service speed of 23 knots with a top speed of 26 knots. Instead, the famous Italian architect Monoliti designed Andrea Doria for luxury. Because it sailed the southern Atlantic routes, Andrea Doria was the first ship to feature 3 outdoor swimming pools, one for each class. When fully booked, the ship was capable of accommodating 1,241 passengers. In addition, 563 crew members were charged with operating and maintaining the ship. Over $1 million was spent on artwork and the decor of the cabins and public rooms, including a life-size statue of Admiral Doria, the person after which the ship was named. Construction. At the end of World War II, Italy had lost half its merchant fleet through wartime destruction and Allied forces seeking war reparations. If you want to know videos specifically about events in World War II, also let me know. Furthermore, the country was struggling with a collapsed economy. To show the world that the country had recovered from the war and to re-establish the nation's pride, the Italian line commissioned 2 new vessels of similar design in the early 1950s. The first was to be named Andrea Doria, after the 16th century Genoese admiral Andrea Doria. The second vessel, which was launched in 1953, was to be named Cristoforo Colombo, after the explorer Christopher Columbus. Final voyage. On the morning of 17th July, boarding at the pier in Genoa began at 8 am as Andrea Doria took on her first batch of passengers. Andrea Doria departed Genoa at 11 am on the first leg of her journey. On Wednesday, 25th July, just before noon, Stockholm, a passenger liner of the Swedish-American line, departed New York Harbor on her 103rd eastbound crossing across the Atlantic to her home port of Gothenburg, Sweden. The Stockholm sailed close to the Arctic Ocean, so it was designed with a strong ice-breaking bow, which turned out to be a major factor in her survival and the fatal damage to Andrea Doria. As the two ships approached each other at a combined speed of 40 knots in falling light, each was aware of the presence of another ship, but guided only by radar, they apparently misinterpreted each other's course. No radio communication was made between the two ships at first. In the critical minutes before the collision, Andrea Doria gradually steered to its left, while Stockholm turned to its right, an action intended to widen the passing distance of a port-to-port passing. In fact, they were actually steering towards each other, narrowing rather than widening the passing distance. As a result of the extremely thick fog that enveloped Andrea Doria as the ships approached each other, the ships were quite close by the time visual contact was established. By then, The crews realized that they were on a collision course, but despite last-minute maneuvers, they could not avoid the collision. Around 11:10 p.m., the two ships collided, Stockholm striking the side of Andrea Doria. Impact. When Andrea Doria and Stockholm collided at almost a 90-degree angle, Stockholm's sharply raked ice-breaking prow pierced Andrea Doria's starboard side about one-third of her length from the bow under the ship's bridge. The ship's large fuel tanks were mostly empty at the time of the collision since the ship was nearing the end of her voyage, worsening the list. Rescue operations. On Andrea Doria, the decision to abandon ship was made within 30 minutes of impact. A distress message was relayed to other ships by radio, making it clear that additional lifeboats were urgently needed. At the east of the collision site, the Ile-de-France was eastbound from New York en route to her home port of Le Havre, France, with 940 passengers and a crew of 826 aboard. Upon hearing of the collision and the distress call, the Bourgeois was at first skeptical of the thought of a modern ship like Andrea Doria actually foundering. I knew that if we did steer back to the collision site only to find that Ile-de-France was not needed, it would mean having to return to New York to refuel and delaying her passengers, which would have been a financial disaster for the French line. At the same time, he knew that if his services were needed, the French line would not question his actions in that case. Captain Bourgeois quickly realized the severity of the situation and that the lives of over 1,600 people were at risk. He quickly turned Ile-de-France around and set a direct course for the stricken Andrea Doria. The sinking. Once the evacuation was complete, Captain Calamai of Andrea Doria shifted his attention to the possibility of towing the ship to shallow water. However, it was clear to those watching helplessly at this scene that the stricken ocean liner was doomed. After all the survivors had been transferred onto various rescue ships bound for New York, Andrea Doria's remaining crew began to disembark, forced to abandon the ship. By 9 a.m., even Captain Calamai was in a rescue boat. The sinking began at 9:45 a.m. and by 10 that morning, the Andrea Doria's starboard side dipped into the ocean and the three swimming pools were seen refilling with water. As the bow slid under, the stern rose slightly and the port propeller and shaft became visible. As the port side slipped below the waves, some of the unused lifeboats snapped free of their davits and floated upside down in a row. It was recorded that Andrea Doria finally sank bow first 10 hours after the collision, at 10:09 a.m. on 26 July 1956. The ship had drifted 1.58 nautical miles from the point of the collision in those 10 hours. Aerial photography of the stricken ocean liner capsizing and sinking won a Pulitzer Prize in 1957 for Harry A. Trask of the Boston Traveler newspaper. Aftermath. While heavy fog was given as the primary cause of the accident, these other factors have also been cited. Andrea Doria's officers had not followed proper radar procedures. Andrea Doria had not followed the long-established rule that vessels approaching head-to-head both turn towards the right. Captain Calamai of Andrea Doria was deliberately speeding in heavy fog, an admittedly common practice on passenger lines. Andrea Doria's fuel tanks were half empty and not pumped with seawater ballast to stabilize the ship, in accordance with the Italian line's procedures. A watertight door may have been missing between bulkheads near the engine room. And last but not least, Stockholm's navigating officer misread his radar thinking he was on a 15 nautical mile or 28 kilometer setting, while in reality the radar was set for 5 nautical miles. Reforms. The Andrea Doria's Stockholm collision led to several rule changes in the immediate years following the incident to avoid a recurrence. Since this was essentially a radar-assisted collision event, in which overuse was made of poorly handled technology. Shipping lines were required to improve training on the use of radar equipment. Also, approaching ships were required to make radio contact with one another. Both ships saw each other on their radar systems and attempted to turn. Unfortunately, one of the radar systems was poorly designed, resulting in the collision. Marine craft today are required to turn to starboard or right in a head-on situation. So that was the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like, share and comment on the video, and do subscribe for more such content. So my name is Namit and you've been watching The Know How.